Good morning, everyone. So today we're going on a residency interview. I think I'm going to start the morning off with a 5-mile run, and then we'll make a big hearty breakfast, and then I'll probably finish off the morning with maybe an hour-long yoga session. That way I feel mentally prepared for the interview. We'll get ready, and then we'll crush it. I'm absolutely kidding, guys. I am not getting out of this bed before the interview. Alright guys, so this morning's interview is for a transitional year program. I'm doing interviews for both TY and prelim positions in case I match into an advanced residency spot for anesthesia. Oh, speaking of which, I don't think I've actually formally said it on my channel, but the specialty I'm applying to is anesthesia. I know it's pretty obvious from my last few vlogs that I applied to anesthesia, but in case any of you guys didn't know, that's what I chose. I'll explain later in the vlog why I chose anesthesia, but for now, I do have 10 minutes until this interview starts, so I do need to get going. Honestly, interviews were pretty exciting at first, but I will say the novelty has started to wear out a bit. I'm getting a little tired of wearing, a suit in my own home and sitting in front of a webcam for like 3 to 4 hours and, having to keep a smile on the whole time, seem really interested, which I am, that's not a lie, but it's really hard to portray that through the webcam, and any of you guys who have done webcam-based interviews kind of know what I'm talking about. Anyway, 4 more months until this whole thing is over. Let's get going with this interview. All right, guys, so I just got done with my interview. I actually got done a little bit earlier than I thought because I was the first interviewer for the PD and the other interviewers. So rather than having to wait in like a break room while other applicants were going through, I got mine done on a row, and I'm done pretty much like an hour and a half earlier than I thought I would be, which is honestly really nice because like I said earlier, it's exhausting to sit in front of the computer for hours. You got to keep a smile on, you're asking questions, you're talking about yourself, which at this point, I don't know how much more I can talk about myself. I think I'm as good as any of the other applicants, but even I'm sick of me. Anyway, I'm going to join these two for a little nap since I am a little tired, even though I haven't really done anything besides the interview today. And yeah, we have another interview for an anesthesia program tomorrow, so I'll catch up with you guys then. All right, guys, good morning. It's the next day, and we're starting the day off right with another interview. Today's interview is for an actual anesthesia program, which is always very exciting. These anesthesia interviews are a lot more focused than the prelim or TY interviews, so I get a little bit more nervous, but overall, I think it'll go okay. Anyway, the program overview and the session with the program director starts in like 5 minutes, so I'm gonna hop on the Zoom call. All right, guys, so I just finished that interview for an anesthesia program. Overall, I think it went pretty good. My interviews were at the beginning after they did like an hour-long kind of program overview. And then there was like 2 hours with the chief residents as well as some of the attendings as well, where we could ask questions. They did like a slideshow and stuff. Overall, I do think it went pretty well. I'm pretty exhausted now because it's been like 4 hours since it started, and now it's like noontime. I haven't really eaten, and it's just really hard to be on like that for that long in front of a webcam, which I've already said already, but it really is kind of exhausting. Like, I'm still excited, obviously, when I go on my interviews, but now it's getting repetitive. The questions they ask start to get repetitive in terms of like, why do you want to do anesthesia? Tell me about yourself. Tell me about this thing on your application, which is good because the repetition means your answers should get better and more rehearsed over time. But I am kind of now looking forward to just hurrying up to match. At this point, I've actually pretty much done the bulk of my interviews, which is good. I can start to relax a little bit. I only have a few more scattered over the next few months, which is kind of nice. But yeah, really exciting stuff, guys. I can't really believe I'm applying and interviewing for residency right now. Like, my first vlog on this channel was when I was interviewing for a medical school, and now this vlog is me interviewing for residency, which is just wild to think about, like how fast the time has gone. Anyway, guys, I want to talk more and vlog more, but I'm starving and kind of just want to go eat something and then lay down for a little bit and try to get some stuff done today. Alright guys, so I'm getting ready for bed, but before I go to sleep, I want to prepare for my anesthesia rotation by reviewing some of the important medications we use. Luckily, Sketchy has videos on all of these, and they're actually sponsoring this vlog. I probably don't even need to introduce Sketchy to you guys, but for those of you who don't know, Sketchy is a scientifically backed visual learning platform that utilizes visual memory techniques to turn complex concepts into unforgettable experiences. These visual memory techniques make the symbols especially sticky and scientifically easier to recall. If you've been watching my videos, then you know that I've been using Sketchy throughout all of medical school. In fact, most medical students would say that Sketchy is a gold standard resource for learning pathology, microbiology, pharmacology, and much more. As you guys can see, they have videos here of all the drugs I need to know for my anesthesia rotation, such as the sedation and paralytic agents, so I know I'll be able to impress my attendings. They even have test questions with every video, so I can actually make sure that I learned everything. Seriously guys, Sketchy is a must-have resource and its reputation really speaks for itself. Besides bugs and drugs, Sketchy covers literally everything you need to know for both your preclinical and clinical years, including biochemistry, A&P, biostats, surgery, toxicology, and much more. Whether you're in medical school or undergrad, Sketchy is going to be one of your most valuable tools. Sketchy is having a Black Friday sale of 20% applied at checkout for all products. There is no code needed and the sale ends on November 30th and it's the last sale of the year, so make sure to go check it out. Thank you so much again to Sketchy for sponsoring this video. Alright guys, good morning. I just got to the hospital. I'm currently on an anesthesia rotation, which is awesome because this is the specialty I applied to for residency. At this point, anesthesia is probably the specialty I'm most comfortable with just because I've put the most time into it, not just, in the hospital going on various rotations, but also outside the hospital with applying to residency, keeping up with what's going on in the anesthesia world. And it's so interesting the difference between rotating in a specialty that you're really interested in and passionate about versus a specialty that maybe you're less interested about, because you just have like a different mindset when you show up to the hospital. Like, I'm actually pretty excited to get my hands dirty, get some tubes in, work with some of the different anesthesiologists and some of the CRNAs, and just deepen my understanding of anesthesia in general. So it's about 7 a.m. right now. I don't have a ton of time to chat because I have to be there by 7:15 for the first case. But once I get done with cases for the day, we'll chat about why I chose anesthesia as my specialty. Alright guys, so I just got done with my day on this anesthesia rotation. I'm gonna keep the scrub cap on because my hair is probably super messed up right now. But it was a good day. I had a lot of fun. I have to get used to these long hours because my last few rotations were not as time intensive, so I kind of got to get back on the 12-hour-a-day schedule. But before I start driving home, I kind of just want to talk a little bit about why I ended up choosing anesthesia. As a lot of you guys know, I was very undecided throughout all of medical school. I was thinking about maybe emergency medicine. At one point, I was thinking maybe oncology, peds, maybe even some sort of surgery like plastics. I was pretty lost for a bit, and I ended up doing an anesthesia rotation right after step 2 at the beginning of my 4th year. Some of you might remember my vlog where I was on that rotation. And honestly, after the first day, and especially after the first week of that rotation, I was just set on anesthesia. The first time working with the anesthesiologist, I just felt like I found my people. They're all very calm, very relaxed in high stress situations, and I feel like I've always been like that. Also, I grew up doing tumbling and tricking, so, learning new skills and having to do them over and over just to get good at them and then eventually master them is something I've been doing my whole life, right? I didn't just learn to backflip in a day or do a triple backflip. It took months, maybe even years of practicing some of my tricks in order for it to be second nature to me. Anesthesia reminds me a lot about that because, as a medical student, when I'm trying to do certain things in anesthesia, like intubate or even just draw up medications, I look so funny doing it because I'm not graceful. You can tell I don't have the skill for it. Everything takes me forever. I fumble things around. I don't get the intubation on my first try, right? But the anesthesiologists are so well practiced that they make it look easy. And I just realized I want to be just like that. I want to learn these skills and become so good at them that I make what I do look easy. Again, it just reminds me a lot of the sports I did growing up, and that's why I ended up just falling in love with anesthesia. There's also a lot of variety in anesthesia. You can just do general like OR stuff, or you can work in trauma, you can work in OB, and I like that a lot because I want to see other areas of medicine, no matter what field I end up going into. Right now now I'm thinking maybe one day I could do fellowship in peds or something, but that is a decision for a long time from now. There's also just something so satisfying about anesthesia. You know, you get the patient, you do what you gotta do, and once they make it back to the PACU, you know that what you've done was a good job, right? It's a very tangible ending to your patient care versus some specialties, you know, you might never know what happens to a patient later, or you might, you know, get off the service and then you still don't know if that patient was, you know, fully treated or what the outcome was. Anesthesia is nice because if all went well, you know what the outcome was. And you just have so much control over each moment in the OR. You know, if you need to adjust their blood pressure, you can give the medication. If you need to change something you're doing, it's all within your control. And besides the actual job part of anesthesia, I think the lifestyle just fits very well with what I want out of life. I've always seen myself as someone who might be interested in doing other things, whether it's hobbies or even other careers. You know, take YouTube for example. I think that anesthesiology will give me the chance to pursue those other things as well in tandem with my career as a physician. Now that's definitely not going to be the case for residency, but that won't be the case for any specialty no matter what you do residency in. Anyway, I think that's all I wanted to say about anesthesia right now. If I think of other things, I'll film again later, but the plan is to go straight to the gym, so I'm not slacking because I'm actually pretty exhausted right now, and if I go straight home, I am absolutely not going to get up later on to go to the gym. So let's go knock out a workout now. That's it. That's the content. My God, I've been filming with the AC off and now I am sweating. Lesson learned, don't film with the AC off. Jesus, it is hot in here.
If I fall behind, would you come back?